coming up on Rhetorically Defective.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, head into the first fun half of 2024. But in this country, we had almost 1.2 million people die.
This is the fun half of the show.
And that is even with, like, the existence of vaccinations.
Yes, I would recommend and have recommended the COVID vaccine for the high-risk people. Like if you're 90 or fat, get it. But you had Djokovic didn't need it.
No, listen, here's the point. We don't know who those people are at any given time.
Yeah, you can't just walk around thinking you know who's old and fat, okay? How could you possibly know who's old and fat?
Why vaccinate for measles? Why not? Why vaccinate for mumps or rubella?
Because those three diseases mainly affect children. Children go to school with each other and would spread it to each other and likely die. We have one vaccine for all three of those that lasts for their entire lives. That's why India has 530,000 COVID deaths. The United States has had, as Sam Seder said,
75 years and older, 600,000.
So we have more people 75 and older that have died from COVID than all of India! Okay, dude. So, first majority report of the new year. Sam Seder's mental health is rapidly declining as he's surrounded by socialist clapping seals. Before I go completely off the rails, I'm gonna start us off with an umbellation.
A majority black run and inhabited city. All this and more on today's
Majority Report.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to 2024.
Do you know where you are?
It is
Newsday, Tuesday, I think at least.
Oh, I thought today was Monday.
No.
Did I say Monday at the beginning of the show?
No one's listening to him read, including him.
Did I say Monday?
I was so impressed.
I was so focused on 2024 that I think I may have said Monday.
It feels like Monday.
Maybe I said Tuesday, but in my head I said...
It feels like Monday on steroids. It's like one of those days where I feel like my brain is way behind. So
Totally.
If I say some words wrong, please allow for, some grace. Oh,
Did I say Tuesday? All right. Well, there
All
you
right.
go. All right. I said Tuesday.
Did you write it down?
I did. I had it written down.
There you go.
Doesn't matter. Folks, thanks for joining us. My name is Sam Seder. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. The Iowa... Is it a primary or is it a caucus for the Republicans?
She knows. It's a caucus.
It's going to be on Martin Luther King Day, and
give him the answer.
It's caucus, and that's going to be essentially, but also sound like I'm not a lunatic to the establishment media, because that is my entire my brand proposition value, or whatever it is. She is in, I've been corrected, it's Berlin, New Hampshire.
Sorry.
And now, on Thursday of last week, she's in North Conway, New Hampshire. And, wokest, or whatever it is. It's fascinating. Let's play one more clip involving Nikki Haley, and then we'll move on to these poll numbers that aren't terribly encouraging for Joe Biden. This is the 5-time award-winning Majority Report. Here is probably current Trump advisor with the white supremacy, would you call him, Jack Posobiec? I don't know if people are aware of this, but Israel is a conscript nation. You turn 18, you go to the army. Everybody goes to the army in the way that, like, you graduate junior high, you go to high school here.
Yeah. It plays a huge part in how militarized and radicalized the society is.
It plays a huge part in how militarized and radicalized Israeli society is. I mean, who do they think they are? Finland? I mean, they're so militarized and radicalized with this conscription, you would think they're an insane country like Denmark. And we all know leftists would rather die alone in a hole than be anything like the militarized and radicalized society of Sweden. So the countries that they want us to be like, that have strong social safety nets, higher taxes, universal health care, also have conscriptions. They have mandatory military service. Now, do they enforce it the same way that Israel does? Not necessarily, and I'm about to get into that right after Sam Seder is done.
It is much of the sort of like the.
I can't think of a time in your life when social pressure is more pronounced from your peers than when you're 18 years old. So it's the societal pressure, and then like the social pressure and the romanticization of it, and the fact that all of his friends are probably getting conscripted as well.
The last vestige is in the military, and so for and I think like I saw some response to this, but I think it's also easy for us in the United States to not fully understand the implications. But I'm saying the expectations are. I don't think we have anything equivalent, frankly, in this country to the to going into the military.
We don't have anything equivalent to mandatory military service. I wonder why. How can we solve this? I know. Let's look at a map. The United States is like 80% the size of the entire continent of Europe. We have massive oceans on either side. To the north of us is Canada, which at the most, a fifth of it is habitable, and we have a cultural practice of habitually making fun of them for being inferior to us, so they don't seem very threatening. To the south of us is Mexico, in which not only do we have a cultural practice of habitually making fun of them for being inferior, but they have a cultural practice of sleeping at 2 p.m. every day. They also don't seem very threatening. Now let's look at Israel and see if we can postulate a guess as to why they might have mandatory military service. Well, in comparison to the countries surrounding them, they're extremely small. Let's investigate the general temperament of the adjacent regions Israel shares land with. Let's electric slide on over to Egypt. CBS News, December 15th, 2022. How Egypt's last Jews will mark Hanukkah and keep their culture alive. Looks like Egypt is about to completely run out of Jews. Let's sashay our way to Saudi Arabia. Now, they don't have religious freedom, so it's not that they're anti-Jew, they're just anti-anyone that's not Muslim. So I mean, I wouldn't say they're targeting Jews, but I guess their textbooks do vilify Jews, because Saudi textbooks apparently still call Jews apes, and demand that students avoid and not befriend Jews, and claim that Jews worship the devil, and encourage Muslims to engage in jihad to vanquish Jews. Now that could mean anything, okay? So maybe they're kind of ambivalent to Jews. Oh, what's this? Saudi Arabian media often attacks Jews in books, news articles, and mosques with what some describe as anti-Semitic satire. Saudi Arabian government officials and state religious leaders often promote the idea that Jews are conspiring to take over the entire world. Now, technically Saudi Arabians have known the Jews a lot longer than the alt-right. But enough of them, let's jog on over to Jordan. Jordan halts film that refers to a historical Jewish presence. That could be a fluke, okay? The Israel-Jordan Treaty of Peace was signed in 1994. The treaty did not change the status of Jews in Jordan, and in 2006 it was reported that there were no Jewish citizens of Jordan. Starting to notice a trend here as to maybe people in the region feeling a certain way about people in Israel, and if they're such a small country and they're surrounded by much larger countries that don't seem to like them, maybe they would have a conscription or mandatory military service to make sure they preserve their autonomy as a people in that very tense region. Let's take our last leap on over to Lebanon, where a Pew Research Center survey in 2008 found that 97% of Lebanese people have an unfavorable opinion of Jews. It looks like the only place Jews can live in the Middle East is in Jewland, Israel. Let's see where else they even live in the entire world. Jew map, baby Jew map. So you'll notice in the United States, we have a lot of Jews. The most Jews in the world are in the United States and in Israel. Where's Israel? Look at how small Israel is. Beep. There it is, right there. I can't even select it. Look at how small it is. So there's a lot of Jews in Israel, all right? Let's see if they want to leave to go to a neighboring country. Yeah, we got less than 100 in Egypt. It's going down, definitely. Not a lot in Iraq. None in Iraq. None in Saudi Arabia. Sudan. Libya. Oh, we got some in Turkey. That's good. Now, when you go to Germany, France, Western Europe, you see a lot of Jews. Not a lot of Jews in this area. They are a tiny country, surrounded by very big countries that don't like them. Sam, you dumb Jew. Sam Seder is the dumbest Jew. What a dumb Jew. What a stupid Jew he is. Acting like he has no idea why they might have a mandatory military when they're this tiny country surrounded by countries that don't like them. And hey, we can go full alt-right and go, Jews are inherently evil demons that are trying to take over the world. Even if that is true, you'd still wanna, with your tiny population, probably protect yourselves from all the countries around you that want to kill you. You'd probably want to do that, right? And then even if you go on the other end of the spectrum and you go, Jews are these magnanimous beings that wherever they go, they thrive and they add prosperity to whatever nation they're in. You'd probably want to protect yourself and all your riches from all the people around you that want to kill you, right? Literally, no matter what you think would lead to the tiny country that is Jewland, Israel, would probably want to protect itself from the millions of people around it that want to kill them. You stupid Jew, Sam Seder, acting like he has no idea why. Smart Jew. Stupid Jew. Intelligent Jews that want to protect themselves. Dumb, useless Jew. Resourceful Jews. Retarded Jew.
All right, folks, we're going to take a break, head into the first fun half of 2024, which is a great opportunity for us to remind you that it is your support that makes this show possible. We need members to be able to do what we do on a daily basis. When you become a member, you not only get the fun half.
You don't have to be a member to get the fun half. The fun half is available under every live stream link. I've never seen a content creator act like you have to go behind a paywall to see the second half of it when it's free for everybody. They don't know what they're doing. 20 years doing this, 5-time Emmy Award winning, acts like you have to pay for it and it's free under every video.
Join the majorityReport.com. Also, justcoffee.coop, fair trade coffee, tea, or chocolate. Use the coupon code, not coffee, tea, or chocolate. Darn it.
Just coffee.
Just coffee.
He brags about being so smart and so good at debates where all he has to do is just read what's in front of him. The sponsor is called justcoffee.com, and he starts telling you all these other things that they sell. And then he's like, oh, it says just coffee. It's called Just Coffee, and it says Just Coffee. Nothing is going through his head when he's reading things. It's unbelievable.
Did you write it down?
I did. I had it written down.
There you go.
Matter. Also, justcoffee.coop, fair trade coffee, tea, or chocolate. Use the coupon code, not coffee, tea, or chocolate. Darn it.
Just coffee.
Just coffee. It's right there in the name. Justcoffee.coop. Although I do think they have hot chocolate.
Can't handle that he's dumb. Can't handle that he's wrong. It's like, just coffee. Oh, why did I say tea and chocolate? Darn it. I think they have hot chocolate. You can't accept that you're wrong, dude. You just said that you're wrong. You can't even let it in.
Justcoffee.coop. Although I do think they have hot chocolate. But it's a fair trade. It's a co-op. It's a great business. And you get 10% off any of the coffees on that site by using the coupon code majority. You can also get the Majority Report blend. Check it out.
Sam Seder, socialist man of the people, finds a co-op that names a coffee after him. They're such big fans, and this is the copy that he reads. He's too aloof to really actually care about anybody. He's brain dead. Imagine that you make a coffee for someone, and this is the copy that they read. And he doesn't even include a link with a discount code in the description. They made him a coffee. He couldn't even put them in either description of these videos. Is he stupid? Is he inconsiderate? Is he senile?
Folks, 646-257-3920. We'll see you in the fun half.
You are in for it.
All right, folks, 646-257-3920. See you in the fun half.
Are you ready?
You see white people doing drugs, they look worse than normal white people. All white people look disgusting.
And the alpha males.
Psych. Fuck 'em.
We are back. Ladies and gentlemen, it is the fun half.
Whoa, guys, dial down the energy for the fun half. First of all, don't call the other half the fun half, because it implies that the other half isn't fun. Second of all, it's ironic that he shows Steven Crowder, who makes the entire thing fun. He doesn't claim that it's fun behind the paywall. And third of all, there's no paywall, because you get the fun half for free. 3 strikes and you're out. Sorry, buddy. Sorry to bore you. Let's go back to the fun half where he's talking about how we're not taking COVID seriously enough and how it's still very lethal.
And let's be clear. I mean, if you look at the numbers, it's very, very hard to really get a sense of just what's going on with COVID at this point, because the CDC is not even tracking this stuff in any type of like daily manner anymore. And they haven't for over a year, well over a year now. But there's a spike. There's a big spike. And we still lose about 200 people a day to COVID. And we seem to have basically settled into where COVID is going to be endemic. And we put up with 80 flu deaths a day. And now we'll put up with, I don't know, about 200 COVID deaths per day. 80 flu deaths a day, and now we'll put up with, I don't know, about 200 COVID deaths per day.
Let's crack open this commie's coconut for a second. We're only gonna use his math. COVID is 2.5 times deadlier than the flu. As far as I can remember, we never thought the flu was like particularly deadly. Also, most people think that COVID is worse than the flu, but it's still not that bad. Like, there's the common cold, and then the flu's worse than the common cold, and then COVID's worse than the flu. It's not nearly as deadly as it was 3 years ago. It seems to be getting less and less deadly, and we're adapting to it. 2.5 times deadlier than the flu is not that deadly.
0 to 4 years, 776 died. Now, 5 to 18-year-old, another 1,071. So 1,800 kids. 1,850. 19 to 44, 45,000. And then, of course, 45-64, 230,000. 65-74, 250,000. 54, 255,000. Again, this is as of June. 75 years and older, 600,000. So definitely, the older you are. But, I mean, do we really need to lose 45,000 19 to 44-year-olds because somebody is afraid of getting a needle?
Do we really need to lose them? Sam, did you say that with the flu? It's a mutating virus, you moronic husk of a human. They're 4% of the deaths, and I bet they were all very healthy. I bet none of them were fat, had cancer, heart or respiratory issues. It's a COVID flu shot. If you're at high risk, get the COVID flu shot. Most people don't need the COVID flu shot. We can't stop the common cold, we can't stop the flu, we can't stop COVID. Just like the flu, people who are at high risk are going to die from COVID. Am I talking to a 6-year-old right now? And it's not a shot. It's multiple shots, and it's multiple different vaccines from multiple different manufacturers. Afraid of getting a needle? Are you afraid of sucking my dick? If you're not, then why don't you suck my dick? What kind of schoolyard tactic is this? There's people that have received over 6 shots. There's also people that have felt like it was ridiculous that they had to keep getting shots in perpetuity and stop getting the shots. It's unnecessary and experimental. Get as vaccinated as you want. If your vaccine only works if I get vaccinated, your vaccine probably sucks dog balls, don't you think? You get 6 shots and you still need me to get one? Nah, I'm good though, thank you.
But in this country, we had almost a 1.2 million people die.
This is the fun half of the show.
And that is even with like the existence of vaccinations and progression of like some semblance of how to treat this. Go ahead.
Okay, so this is all anecdotal,
Right.
but you know the difference between anecdotal and statistical.
I do.
Well,
And statistically, you still have a 90% better chance of not being hospitalized, not dying if you're vaccinated.
Okay, but that's assuming all people are alike, and that is one of the giant fallacies in your way of thinking. We are not all alike. Yes, I would recommend and have recommended the COVID vaccine for the high-risk people. Like if you're 90 or fat, get it. Absolutely, you need it. Some people don't.
But you had
Djokovic
pause
didn't need it.
No,
But you-
listen, here's the point. We don't know who those people are at any given time.
Yeah, you can't just walk around thinking you know who's old and fat, okay? How could you possibly know who's old and fat?
Yes, it is true that you have a greater chance of dying from COVID if you're 90. You have a greater chance of dying if you are, as he says, fat. Now, the idea that like you're going to pick and choose who's going to do this, we don't do that with any other vaccinations, incidentally.
It's like the flu shot.
There are definitely children
Okay.
who get the hepatitis vaccine who are more susceptible to hepatitis because of income levels, let's say,
What?
or because of regions where they live
Where is this going?
than others.
Where are we going?
But this is public health.
Oh, it's for his buzzword.
And the whole point of
Okay,
public
we're done
health
listening to
is-
this. Not today, Satan.
With COVID or from COVID? Did 1,900 children die with COVID? Yes, it's a whole different story.
Okay, but take 7 million people worldwide. 7 million people worldwide who died from COVID. Like if even just a fraction of that is, and it's probably a larger fraction who died of COVID than who died with COVID. Even just a fraction of that is, that's still a lot of fucking people.
Now, you may have forgotten this, but in this country, we had almost a 1.2 million people die.
7 million people worldwide who died from COVID.
But in this country, we had almost a 1.2 million people die.
Whoa. There's 7 million people have died worldwide of COVID. And over 1 million of them are in the United States. There's 7 continents. That's 1 million per continent. How many are in Asia? If just the United States has 1 million, there's no way this is adding up. We gotta look this up. So there's 7 million COVID deaths in the world, and there's 2 million in Europe. If there's 1 million in the United States, and if there's 2 million in Europe, that's 3 million. Now, China only has 122,000. All of Asia has 1.5 million. The science says just the United States and Europe have 3 million. So just the United States and Europe have more COVID deaths than all of Asia, all of South America, and all of Africa combined. I thought COVID negatively impacted people of color more. What? You're supposed to uncritically accept this, that just the United States and Europe have more COVID deaths than all of Asia, South America, and Africa combined. Remember how Sam Seder said 255,000 COVID deaths in the United States?
65, 74, 250,000, 54, 255,000. Again, this is as of June.
That's about the same as all of Africa. Dude, between what? Between Africa and Asia. What is that? 6 billion people? And then in the United States and Europe, it's just over 1 billion people. Oh my God. Between the United States and Europe, that's just over 1 billion people. There's 8 billion people in the world. So we're like 13%. Europe has 2 million. We have 1 million. Well, we have over 1 million. So we have almost 50%. So we're 13% of the population, and we have about 50% of the COVID deaths. Dude, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me with these statistics, dude? So you're telling me, mind you, what, the first case of COVID was in like 2019? In Wuhan over there, right around January 6th, when our nation's capital was being insurrected. Europe had almost twice as many COVID deaths as Asia. I understand how China's lying about their numbers, but all of Asia, even if you take out China, there's still India. There's like 1.4 billion people in China and 1.4... Wait a minute, now I gotta look by country. We have just the most COVID deaths, like by a long shot, in the entire world. Mind you, we have 100 million confirmed cases and 1 million deaths. That means 1% of people that get COVID die from it. And of the 1% of people that die from COVID, 96% of them are over the age of 44, of the 1% of people that die from COVID. So get the vaccine if you want to. Millions, it would be unnecessary for millions of people to get it. But that's not why we're here. India has, so this is as of March, okay? India has 530,000 COVID deaths. So you're telling me that the United States has had, as Sam Cedar said,
75 years and older, 600,000.
So we have more people, 75 and older, that have died from COVID than all of India! Okay, dude. All right. Okay. Yeah. It just so happens that India has, like, I don't know, 12 times the population density that we do. And they do poo-poo in the street, and we have our old people. We have more old people that have died of COVID than India, who has 1.4 billion people, has died total. That's incredible, dude. Can you believe that? That's what the science says. This is gonna be in the history books. If you have a 2-year-old right now that was like born during COVID, they're gonna learn that the United States had the most COVID deaths of any other country. There's no way they're inflating the United States numbers with COVID deaths. There's no way they're inflating it. These are completely believable numbers. Don't forget, if you're skeptical, you're anti-science.
The vitriol and the aggression towards that the anti-vaccination movement, the way it souped itself up during all this, that the next time there is a pandemic, our public health system is so weakened.
Yes,
it's
exactly,
so weakened.
because of them and their fucking misinformation that made people skeptical. The fact that everybody came out and said, if you get the vaccine, you cannot get the disease, and then of course that was wrong. And if you get the vaccine, you can't transmit it.
But
and
they were learning right alongside us.
I understand.
They're not. You just said yourself, doctors are often wrong. They are, especially when they're researching a brand new disease.
And I am not blaming them for it. I'm just saying that's why there shouldn't be the science. There's no the in science. That's what you want.
Why vaccinate for measles? Why not? Why vaccinate for mumps or rubella, pertussis? Why vaccinate for any of those things? Because somebody might get hurt by the vaccine. I mean, why do those vaccines? Because COVID is newer.
Well, COVID is newer.
Yes, it's new, but is that the only reason? I mean, this was by the time you got the vaccine. I don't know if you had it, but by the time I got the vaccine, this was the most tested vaccine in the history of vaccination.
Yes, I had it.
Because
I had to get
so many people by that point had it. It's like by the time it got into my arm, it's like, all right, I think I'm going to be okay.
The people at risk for measles are young children and pregnant persons. Pregnant persons, that's so 2024. Pregnant women, let's say. But it's preventable by the vaccine. The people at risk for mumps are college students and healthcare workers. It usually occurs in children, and the greatest risk of infection is older children, but it's preventable by the vaccine. The people at risk for rubella are the unvaccinated and pregnant women because it can lead to miscarriages, stillbirths, and severe birth defects in infants. And guys, trust me, I'm somewhat of a ladies' man. A huge turnoff for chicks is miscarriages and stillbirths. But enough about teaching you how to get women. The irony of Seth calling it the COVID vaccine when there's been 40 COVID vaccines released around the world.
By the time I got the vaccine, this was the most tested vaccine in the history of vaccination.
Yes, I had it.
Because
I had to get
so many people by that point had it. It's like by the time it got into my arm, it's like, all right, I think I'm going to be okay.
You can't act like the vaccine you got was either time tested or the same vaccine that the rest of the world was taking. You said that they made mistakes. They were still learning about COVID.
But
And
they were
that is
learning
what-
right alongside us.
I understand.
They're not. You just said yourself, doctors are often wrong. They are, especially when they're researching a brand new disease.
And I am not.
The same people that incorrectly guessed the accurate effects of one of these several vaccines you got couldn't possibly know enough about that vaccine to responsibly administer it. You got your vaccine from people you admit were wrong about its efficacy. You show-tune-loving doofus. So it's one of several COVID vaccines that don't even give you a year of protection versus the MMR vaccine. One vaccine protects you against measles, mumps, and rubella for your entire life. Those 3 diseases mainly affect children, and you get one vaccine to protect you from all 3 of them.
Why vaccinate for measles? Why not? Why vaccinate for mumps or rubella?
Because those 3 diseases mainly affect children, children go to school with each other, and would spread it to each other and likely die. We have one vaccine for all 3 of those that lasts for their entire lives. That's why.
Pertussis. Why vaccinate for any of those things? Because somebody might get hurt by the vaccine.
By pertussis, do you mean the whooping cough that's particularly dangerous for infants and small children? That's probably why we have a vaccine for it. And guess what, buddy? One vaccine protects against another 3 diseases. Pertussis, tetanus, and diphtheria. That lasts for 10 years until you need a booster, with some studies showing that its efficacy goes past 30 years. You see, back in your day, Seth, 2 vaccines protected you from 6 different diseases for a decade throughout the rest of your life. You're equivocating that vaccine experience that used to mean immunization to protect vulnerable children to a COVID flu shot that almost exclusively targets old people and people with comorbidities that doesn't immunize you and requires multiple shots per year indefinitely and doesn't prevent transmission. In comparison to vaccines in your lifetime, objectively, these series of COVID flu shots are way less effective, last months instead of a lifetime, and don't prevent transmission. That's where the pushback comes from. But unfortunately, the fun half must come to an end, so we're gonna part ways and let me show you how this ends, which is a mentally ill Palestinian woman calls on the phone and completely deflates the tone of the show for the rest of the time. Have a good one, guys.
Calling from a 773 area code. Who's this? Where are you calling from?
Hello?
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 Yes,
Hi, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. I've been practicing what I want to say for like ever, and I feel like I've forgotten it. I'm so nervous.
Okay, well, let's start with your name and where you're calling from.
My name is Karima. I'm Palestinian. I've been calling the show for a while, so thank you for finally taking my call.
Thanks for calling.
I've been a listener for the past 10 years. So I've been following you guys. I remember when Emma was back with the Young Turks, when Michael was still with you guys. But I'm sorry, I'm just nervous.
All right, well, don't worry about it. Where are you calling from? General area.
So I'm Palestinian American, and I am from Chicago.
Okay.
It's a suffocating experience to be Palestinian now. So we appreciate what you do for us. So I just wanted to put that up there. Thank you guys so much. So I just wanted to tell you guys that the hate crimes started spiking up, thinking they were going to come to Chicago, which is sort of safer. But the little boy who died is in my child's class. I don't know if you remember him.
Yes, of course.
So I just remember having that conversation and telling them, there nowhere is really safe. So we were just
where he's just working at a gas station and they get him on his knees and step on his back as they walk out after kicking him. This is just the kind of from what I'm seeing on social media, and you're confirming
what
it.
you're saying all makes sense, and it's it's incredibly tragic, and I think I can't speak for everybody who's listening to this, but I think everyone feels, I think our hearts go out to you, and I can't imagine how the level of despair and Matt, good luck on Bradley's honeymoon. Emma, great job today. Folks, we'll see you tomorrow.
That was quick.